Welcome to Gates of Transformation, a platform for transformational leaders, visionaries, and everyday people standing at the threshold of change.
Hello, my people. Welcome again to the Gates of Transformation channel. I am so glad you are joining me on yet another episode. Thank you for your continuous support. I greatly appreciate it, and your engagement. I have been reading and looking at your comments, and I am very, very encouraged. Thank you for all the support that you're offering me and this platform. And please do not relent from supporting the channel, and continue to subscribe, like the videos, comment, share the channel with your network. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate your support, and want to also welcome and send a rowdy shout out to our new subscribers and our committed followers. You are all greatly appreciated. Guess what, people? We are continuing the series, The Pathway to a Transformed Africa. And today's focus is, like I promised you in the last episode, I want to know who remembers what the topic is going to be today. I ended the last episode by announcing to you what the focus is going to be this time around. And it is nothing other than systems of governance. Systems of governance. Africa needs systems of governance. I hope you enjoyed the last episode. If you haven't watched it, I highly encourage you to pause right here and check that one out first, so you don't miss a beat, because you need to see that one so you can flow with us in understanding. As you may already know, Gates of Transformation is a platform where we dive deep into topics that will give you an upgraded perspective on leadership, nation building, and your role as a citizen in uplifting your nation. If this appeals to you, then be my guest and don't come alone. Invite others to join us on this journey. I ended the last episode with 4 powerful questions. Who owns the factories and processing plants in your nation? Who is managing the major logistical companies, the cargoes, the ports, and the transportation in your country? Who owns the construction companies? Who builds the roads? And who owns the large charitable organizations? Most likely, it is not you or the citizens in your nation. And I also asked, who is providing funding for the conferences, the youth programs, the political campaigns, the incubator labs, the road expansion projects, the training programs, the women and children's programs, etc., in your nation? If you don't know these answers, I am challenging you to research. You are entitled to know who is leading you. You are entitled to know who is behind all these major expansions in your nation. I will echo again. These questions bring to light a very profound truth, that if we want the people of Africa to be free, we need to be able to build our own economies and financial portfolios to pay our own bills. That is absolutely right. We cannot experience freedom and independence until we wean ourselves of the king's delicacies. Yes, I know that one will hit some people very hard, but that's what needs to happen, so we can begin to shift and stir the womb of transformation. Let me share with you what I believe to be true. For African nations to stand tall and be secured, transformational leadership is needed. And at the core of the system is governance. Yes, we need systems, functioning systems of governance. Speaking of the importance of systems of governance, let me share some statistical data with you for more clarity on what I mean. Let's take, for instance, the Western countries like United Kingdom, Europe, and the United Nations. In these countries, one constituent or state are generally larger in size and population than most countries in the African continent. In 2025, for example, the smallest state in the USA, which is Rhode Island, registered a population of approximately 2.08 million people, while the largest state in the US, being California, has an estimated population of 39.8 million people. On the other hand, the smallest country in the African continent, which is Seychelles, has an approximate population of 132,000 people, while the largest country in the African continent, being Nigeria, has an estimated population of 237.5 million people. Those of you who are good at math, I want you to start writing these figures down, these statistics down. The entire population of the USA is estimated at approximately 347 million people, while the entire population of the continent of Africa is estimated to be 1.5 billion people. The USA has 52 states, while the entire continent of Africa has 54 countries. In the USA, they have always had one president and one administration under the president governing the entire 52 states. In Africa, we have 54 presidents or heads of states and 54 cabinets governing the nations in the continent. Yet, the country in the West controls the narrative of an entire continent of Africa. You want to know how this is possible? I will tell you a little bit. I'll tell you. Just give me a little moment. I'll get to that. I wanted that to marinate. 52 states versus 52 countries. One president versus 54 presidents. One administration versus 54 cabinets. And we are still not able to experience transformation. What could be responsible? Yes, several factors play a role in this outcome. I know some of you will quickly jump to tell me, oh, you're comparing apples to oranges. No, listen to the end. Don't jump to conclusion. Listen to the end. I am not comparing apples and oranges. I am giving a very clear scenario of what transformational leadership can accomplish. The biggest hurdle and reasons for the lack of progress in the African nations are fueled by two critical factors. Two factors. Number one, the lack of rigorous systems of governance. And number two, the absence of patriotism, love for country. These two factors are mainly responsible for our lack of transformation and progress in Africa. Let me tell you, a continent without proper systems of governance cannot be compared to a country that has created a system of control. I hope you heard that right. A whole continent with 54 countries, 54 heads of states, 54 cabinets, without proper systems of governance cannot be compared to one nation that has created a system of control. Africa, I want you to listen to me carefully, not emotionally, but logically. I want you to listen to me. We are always outrightly expressing our concerns or our disgust of the Western countries. I know somebody may even be watching this episode and getting upset. Why is she comparing Africa and the United States? Why the US? Why not Rwanda? Why not Senegal? Why not Nigeria? Why is she bringing in the US? It's two different continents. No, listen. We have to stop being emotional. We have to stop hearing everything emotionally. We have to start thinking critically, and we have to start thinking logically. That is the way forward. That's the way to move forward. We are always outrightly expressing our disgust of the Western countries attempting to control Africa, controlling Africa, or even attempting to control Africa. You know what? Control is a system. I want you to note that down. Control is a system. Yes, because no one can control anything until you create a robust system with effective control mechanisms that will yield the desired results. That is right. That is the plain truth. And in the event you are wondering, let me ask you the million-pound question. How is Africa granted independence, but not free? I will help you with the answer. When the colonial masters who understand the power of systems came into Africa, they created a system that the continent inherited at the time of the Declaration of Independence. We inherited a system. And those systems branded as dependence. The system that we inherited is a system of dependence. They came to Africa, they created a system of dependence in Africa, and when they granted us independence, they left the system there. And that system still exists today. The colonial masters physically vacated the continent, but they left their spirits in the seats of rulership in the continent. How? How is this possible? Because they taught Africans to depend on them for progress and advancement. That is how they are in the seat of rulership even today, even after decades of independence. They gave the continent the keys to the gates of the state houses and the palaces, but they are still gatekeepers at the 7 gates of influence in each nation. If you're wondering and doubting what I'm saying, I want you to put your own country on the scale or in the mirror right now. Who do you see driving structure, investments, economy, and development programs? Who do you see driving them? Who designs and provides funding, grants, or loans for the conferences and programs at your political, education, religion, family, business, media, and the arts and entertainment gates of influence? Who is behind these 7 gates, funding, providing loans, providing grants to push these 7 gates forward? Who is behind them? Answering that question will help you understand what I'm talking about. The image you see when you put your nation in the mirror, the image you see in the reflection of the mirror is the one ruling your nation. If you don't see your citizens funding and driving the political gate, if you don't see your own citizens driving the education expansion projects and whatnot, the building of universities and building of labs, if you don't see your own citizens funding it, if you don't see the religious conferences and big crusades and big religious meetings being funded by your own citizens, we have to have people from other countries come in and fund the building of even the meeting place for that meeting to take place. All the programs that are affecting families, the Department of Gender and Children's Affairs, who is funding the programs there? The Business Gate, who is funding all the incubator labs and the training programs and the farming initiatives and all the different programs that are boosting the Business Gate? Who is funding the media so they can cause chaos and confusion and sway the nation in one direction, in the direction of the one that is funding? Who is funding the arts and entertainment gates of your nation? The reflection that you see in the mirror, that is the one ruling your nation. So we have leaders wearing the crowns, taking us through elections processes, spending a lot of money, dividing the nation in the process of campaigning. They're in the seats, they're in the state houses, they're in the palaces, they're wearing the crown, they're even wearing the signet ring when we inaugurate them into power. They're wearing the signet ring. They're occupying the seats, and they're looking like they're running the affairs of the nation, but they are not. If they are not taking charge of the 7 gates and revitalizing the economy and selling the vision of progress to the citizens, to where the citizens are coming behind the leader to contribute, to take care of this, the progress and the advancement of these 7 gates, then they are not the ones leading. Because you know what? You will always be answerable to the one who feeds you and pays your bills. Africa, get that. Let's get that in our heads. Let's get that in our hearts. We will always be answerable to the one who feeds us and pays our bills. That is absolutely right. And this error will never be corrected until Africans begin to take full responsibility of our continent and our people. In fact, Africa is now experiencing a new form of control, and it's the neo-colonialism. It is fully creeping into Africa. In this approach, the colonial masters are controlling the resources of the African continent from close or from afar. And in most cases, they are doing this through funded programs. African leaders need to be awake. African leaders need to awake. African leaders need to wake up from their slumber, because the lack of financial resources, the lack of robust technology, the lack of equipped human capital, and greed are pushing our leaders to give up our waters and lands to foreign investors to run the affairs of the nations. And unfortunately, they usually extract raw materials to export. They're not even bringing in the infrastructure to maintain the raw materials in the nation. They are extracting them and exporting them. Africa can only be built by Africans. And the earlier we accept responsibility, the better for us. This is the pathway to a transformed Africa. Yes, I have given you some things to meditate about, some things to think about, some things to ponder on. Go back and put your nation in the mirror and begin to look in that mirror to determine where the issues are arising from. Whoever you see driving the nation economically, providing all the funding, all the money, all the loans coming into the nation, believe it or not, and whether you agree or not, those are the ones leading. They are the ones ruling the nation. Well, well, well. I know you may have been expecting to hear more. This is why you need to stay connected and keep introducing others, because at this Gates of Transformation channel, we commit to bring you content that will facilitate your transformation and that of your community and your nation. Also, I invite you, like always, to keep liking, subscribing, and commenting so that you can help us, this channel, to be more visible and reach a larger audience. Don't forget also to visit our website. The link is in the description below. Visit our website to purchase copies of my books and take advantage of our services. While you are doing that, I want to thank you for being here with me today. And I promise you, I will see you very soon. Thank you so much.